A new study by the World Bank shows that 1/3 of all food in the world is wasted. About 4 billion metric tons of food goes to waste, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the World Bank. According to their estimates, about 53% of the calorie loss comes from the loss of cereals. Now, when it comes to actual weight, about 44% of that is from fruits and vegetables going to spoil. The most interesting data gathered is that the largest amount of waste, 35% of it, actually comes at the point of consumption. After that, it's production and distribution at 24%. In other words, largely towards the first world end, is it actually lost. The magnitude of the loss of food here does not go unnoticed by the authors of the study. Millions of people around the world go to bed hungry every night, yet millions of tons of food end up in trash cans or spoiled on the way to market. We have to tackle this problem in every country in order to improve food security and to end poverty. A good question here is, where's the supposed greatness of the market's ability to distribute goods? I mean, that's what we're told all the time by those who apologize for capitalism, that it's the most useful and most efficient way of getting things to the customers, to people who need it. And in this situation, when it comes to something as basic for human life as food, it is an abject failure in doing so. When we look at the study, what we can definitely see is that the first world is the biggest waster of food. Now, here's more of that information. In North America, some 61% of food losses are in the consumption stage. For example, food which has been bought and then rots in refrigerators. In the US and the UK, an average family of 4 wastes between $1,600 and $1,100 a year in food that they buy but do not consume. The authors blame the policies of large supermarkets, which encourage overbuying by consumers, as well as overproduction of some foods for sale. In contrast, sub-Saharan Africa lost just 5% of food at its consumption stage, but vast amounts were lost during production and processing. Now, what do we see here? Food consumption patterns in the first world are the primary loss when it comes to food being wasted. Yet when we go to the third world, it's actually inefficiencies in the production process due to historical underdevelopment that are the cause for these losses. Most of the food that's wasted in the world is lost by the sheer gluttony of the first world. But don't worry, the capitalist class certainly has a solution to this problem. They warn that by 2050, we have to increase the world's food supply by about 60%. Now, they say we have to do so in order to avoid the social and political unrest that would, of course, develop as a result of a lack of food. This necessity for a 60% increase has come out from a UN study. Now, when we look at this, we see what its proposed solution is. To combat the problem, the UN body has outlined 2 primary options: increasing arable land areas as well as productivity rates. A lack of available arable land and more sluggish growth rates in staple crops have complicated efforts to bolster these 2 pillars of food security. In other words, we're going to ignore the study that we did right before that says there was a monumental amount of waste coming out of the first world. We're just going to ignore the fact that capitalism and the market mechanism of it is leaving 842 million people a year to go hungry. So what's the solution for capitalism? Just make more food. Just sell more. Don't really concern yourself with the huge inefficiencies that are coming from first world consumption patterns. Just make more and sell more food. Now, would we ever really question the consumption patterns and the way it's distributed? No, because that'd be taking away from those who do get it to give it to those who don't get it. And, well, we couldn't really challenge, first world privilege and being able to have this kind of access to food, can we? No. And instead, what we are given is just create more. So the solution for the capitalist cause problem of the way things are sold is to just sell more of it. Can we really be surprised by this? What these 2 reports tell us is that, once again, we actually do produce enough food. We don't have a food problem. We have a distribution problem. The problem here is capitalism itself. The problem here is the first world. The first world's not going to give up the privileged position that it has to be able to just take all this food and then just inhumanly waste it while so many people around the world go hungry. The solution to this problem does not lie in creating more markets or having more products. The solution lies in a better distribution of that resource that we have, one that goes according to need and not according to greed. But the primary thing we do have to understand here is that this is a first world versus the third world issue. It is first world peoples in general who are driving this cannibalization of third world people, sending them into the poverty-stricken situation that they're in. And we have to understand this. We do need, not just in our country, we need a global redistribution of resources if we are to take care of this monstrous inhumanity that's being forced upon the world by capitalism. Thank you for watching. Please comment and rate the video. If you liked it, hit subscribe or check out some of these other great videos. If you wish, share it on social media. While you're at it, why don't you follow me on Twitter? And if you got time, go on over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.